Dela writes, my MVVs, welcome.
Ooni of Ife's trust betrayed. Ife priest banished as dark secret of the palace Unravel. Dela writes, what is happening in the palace of the Ooni of Ife is nothing short of historical scandal. A dark betrayal has been uncovered, and the weight of tradition has come down heavily on those who dared, to challenge the sacred laws of Ile-Ife. I hope you're ready to hear the full story, because what is unfolding is deeper than we ever imagined. Now, people are actually beginning to pay for their crimes. But you know one thing I will say to people is that with all these stories we have been telling lately, like all of this news we've been hearing, are you aware that, people are beginning to pay so badly for the things that have been done to Olori Naomi? For the evil method on Olori Naomi, people are beginning to pay, and they will never stop paying. Dela writes, it is not a small thing, no. Now, let me take you inside the palace, where a serious act of sacrilege has been committed, shaking the very foundation of the ancestors, The Ooni of Ife, of course, we do know that he is the Arole Oduduwa, has once again proven that the throne is not a place for deceit, betrayal, or treachery. And Ife priest, a supposed spiritual guide, has been cast out of Ile-Ife for his unholy act of conspiring with Ebony to undermine Olori Naomi. What happened? This whole thing about getting worried, Kabiyesi not paying attention to Ebony, the reason why they went to go and pack that sand from Ogun Shrine, has to do with the fact that they all feel like Nami is getting everything they love and everything from the Ooni of Ife. But only, they never could have thought that things would have gotten. I think that the height of it was when they connived and everything. Nami was detained, and maybe this is just retribution that is going on. Now, as we are hearing what is going on, Dela right, they said this Ife priest, who was previously cast out of the Ooni of Ife's palace for fraudulent practices, secretly worked with Ebony, instructing her to perform an abominable act to gather sand from the Ogun Shrine. Let me pause here and let you, digest this properly. Do you understand the magnitude of this crime? Do you know what it means to take something secret from the Ogun Shrine without the proper right? It is an offense so grievous that even in ancient times, king, chief, and even the most powerful warriors feared to commit such a sacrilege. Ogun is the god of iron, war and justice, a deity who does not tolerate deceit or injustice. To take, sacred sand from his shrine for selfish gain is to invite his wrath, And sorry, let me take water. I don't know, I'm just tired. Now, why did the Ife priest ask Ebony to do this? To prepare a ritual that will keep Queen Naomi away from the Ooni permanently. Imagine, Ebony in her desperation for power and influence agreed to partake in a ritual so dangerous that even those with the smallest knowledge of tradition would never dare to attempt. But she was not dealing with ordinary, palace politics. She was dealing, playing with the gods because of her emotions. And that is why they continue to say that. Do not allow your emotions to drive you into dangerous terrain. And this is exactly what Ebony did. When the Ooni of Ife discovered this treachery, the palace was thrown into complete disarray. Imagine the scene, the great Ooni standing tall, his voice shaking, the very walls of the palace demanding answers. His trust had been broken and betrayed not just by a male subject, but by someone who was supposed to uphold our tradition. And you know what makes this so bad is the fact that Ebony is somebody who knows so much about the tradition of Ile-Ife people. Dela right, let me tell you something. In Yoruba culture, betraying the Ooni is equivalent to betraying the gods. The Ooni is not just a king, he is the spiritual leader of the Yoruba people, which we all know, right? the direct representative of Oduduwa on earth. Any act of sacrilege committed under his reign is not just an offense against the throne, but an offense against the entire Yoruba civilization. And that is why I continue to say that these people were really, really unfair to Olori now. They use all these diabolical means, push Olori Naomi to go and write that thing on Instagram. They use it against her. We saw how it played out during December. Something that was never Queen Naomi's fault. They just wanted to take Naomi to a slaughterhouse because of that, if not for the grace of God. Now, all of these sacrileges and all of these things that these people are committing, what have they done about it? And in Yoruba history, we have seen the consequences of such betrayal. Let me remind you of the story of Basharonga. I talked about it the other day. The feared prime minister of the Oyo Empire. Basharonga was once a powerful and respected figure, but his greed for power led him to commit terrible acts against the Alafin of Oyo. He went as far as plotting against the throne, believing he could outsmart the gods. But what happened in the end? He was captured, cause and, a whole lot happened to him. I don't want to go into that again. Now, look at what is happening today. The Ifa priest who thought he could manipulate fate, who thought he could use dark ritual to interfere with destiny, has been cast out completely. He's no longer welcome in Ile-Ife. His name will be erased from the land, and he will wander without honor, without recognition, without protection. And most times, when people begin to do these kinds of things, don't allow greed to, make you forget about your family, your children, and all of that, because this is a family man. Now, this is a question on everyone's lip, and fear has gripped Ebony's family. They know that she has crossed the line that cannot be ignored. They are pleading, begging for mercy, but will the Oni and his elders listen? That is a question that a lot of people are asking. Okay, traditionally, when a person commits an act of sacrilege, there are only a few ways to cleanse the land. I spoke to you about it the other day. The most serious punishment is exile or banishment. Then there is another one in cases an offender may be forced to undergo powerful spiritual and confess their wrongdoing publicly and be at the mercy of the gods. But his part is not for the faint-hearted. Okay, now when they talk about spiritual cleansing, it takes a lot of money. Spiritual cleansing in Ile-Ife is not a tea party affair. Most times when we have talked about spiritual cleansing, people will just say, okay, what kind of spiritual cleansing? They should banish them and all of that. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. It is disgraceful for you to be going through this kind of spiritual cleansing for a reason like this. It is a whole lot, okay, that happens when things like this happen. Now, the tension in the palace is unbearable, and decision that the Oni makes next will determine Ebony's fate. Will she be cast out like the Ifa priest? That is what people are afraid of. The family, they say she is crying, she's still begging. Because every day new things are happening. And I was thinking that it's Ipe that has terrified the palace. So Ipe has terrified the palace, but they said Ebony, as it is role model, has done so much. Do not forget that these are all alleged rumors, unverified information making the rounds on social media and should not be seen as fact.